I slammed the door harder than I meant to, and the CPAP machine in my overnight bag rattled like an accusation. Tom stood in my kitchen doorway, holding a bottle of wine, his expression caught between confusion and hurt, and I knew this was the moment everything either fell apart or changed forever. The kitchen light cast shadows across his face as he set the wine down slowly, deliberately, like he was dealing with something fragile and dangerous. Me, probably. I was both. "So, you're just going to leave?" His voice was quiet, controlled, but I heard the edge underneath. My hands shook as I gripped the counter. 3 months. That's how long we'd been doing this dance around the elephant in the room. Or rather, the medical equipment in my closet. 3 months of me making excuses, leaving his place at midnight, insisting on separate sleeping arrangements when we traveled. 3 months of him being patient while I slowly poisoned something good with my own shame. "I can't do this tonight." The words came out sharper than I intended. Do what? Sleep next to me? He moved closer, and I could smell his cologne mixed with the late October air he'd brought in with him. "Sarah, we're not kids. We're 41 years old. What are we doing here?" My chest tightened. That question, the one I'd been avoiding while I lay awake night after night, exhausted but too proud to plug in the machine that sat in my closet like a ticking bomb of humiliation. Before the diagnosis last year, I'd convinced myself that single mom fatigue was normal. That training 6 days a week for my triathlon while raising a teenager alone should leave me wrecked. That falling asleep at stoplights was just part of being an adult. Then the sleep study happened. Severe sleep apnea. The doctor's face when he told me I stopped breathing 87 times per hour. 87! The weight loss recommendations, despite my intense training schedule. The look of pity when I tried to explain I was an athlete, that I just completed my first Ironman. "You need to lose weight and stop eating cookies," one specialist had said, like I was a child who couldn't manage basic self-care. The CPAP machine became a symbol of everything I was fighting against. Aging, losing control of my body, being alone forever because who wants to sleep next to Darth Vader? "Sarah." Tom's hand touched my elbow, gentle. "Talk to me." I pulled away, walked to the window. Outside, leaves skittered across the driveway in the wind. My daughter Emma was at her dad's this weekend. The house felt too big, too empty, too full of this moment I'd been dreading. "You don't understand what you're asking." "Then help me understand." He was right behind me now, close enough that I could feel the warmth of him. "Because from where I'm standing, you're running away from something good, and I don't know why." I spun around, and the words came tumbling out before I could stop them. "Because I have to sleep with a machine strapped to my face, okay? Because at 41, my body is betraying me, and dating became this nightmare where I have to choose between actually sleeping or maintaining any shred of attractiveness. Because the last guy the first told about it never called me again. Because I have one too." The words hit me like cold water. I stared at him. "What?" Tom ran a hand through his hair, a gesture I'd come to recognize as his tell when he was nervous. "A CPAP machine. I've had one for 2 years. Moderate sleep apnea. Found out after my divorce when I finally had a bedroom to myself and realized I was waking up every morning feeling like I'd been hit by a truck." The kitchen seemed to tilt slightly. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me?" He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "We've been doing the same dance, Sarah. I haven't used mine since we started dating either. I've been going home at midnight, making excuses, feeling like garbage the next day because I'm too embarrassed to bring it up. I couldn't process this. 3 months of agony, of careful choreography to avoid intimacy that might lead to overnight stays, of declining weekend trips, of pushing away someone I was starting to care about. And he'd been doing the same thing. "This is insane," I whispered. "Yeah," he stepped closer. "It really is. We're 2 adults with a medical condition, treating it like it's some shameful secret that makes us undateable." "I showed you that article last week," I said slowly, remembering. About sleep apnea in athletes. You read the whole thing. I know every word of that article. I've read it about 50 times, trying to convince myself that having this condition doesn't make me less of a man. His jaw tightened. Doesn't make me less desirable, less worthy of being someone's person. The vulnerability in his voice cracked something in my chest. I thought about the machine in my bag, the nights I'd left his warm bed to go home and sleep alone. But, well, the mornings I'd arrived at work after staying over, so exhausted I could barely function, lying to coworkers about insomnia. I look ridiculous in it, I said quietly, like some kind of alien. My ex-husband used to make jokes about it being a mood killer. That was before the divorce. When I first got diagnosed, your ex-husband is an idiot. Tom's voice was flat, angry in a way I'd never heard before. And he's your ex for a reason, I'm guessing. Several reasons, but yeah, that didn't help. I touched my face, imagining the mask, the straps, the hose, all of it. I thought this thing would destroy any chance I had at a normal relationship, at physical intimacy, at not being alone for the rest of my life. So you chose to be alone anyway, just in a different way. It wasn't an accusation, just an observation, but it landed hard. He was right. I'd been so afraid of rejection that I'd been rejecting connection before it could fully form, keeping Tom at arm's length while pretending we were building something real. I don't know how to do this, I admitted. How to be vulnerable like that. To let someone see me that way. Tom pulled out his phone. Okay, new plan. I'm going to show you something and you're not allowed to laugh. Tom? No, seriously, promise you won't laugh. He was already scrolling through his photos. I can't promise that without knowing. He turned the phone toward me. On the screen was a selfie of him wearing a CPAP mask, eyes crinkled in a deliberate, ridiculous expression, giving a thumbs up. Despite everything, I felt my lips twitch. You took a selfie in your mask? I took about 20, actually, trying to desensitize myself to how I look in it, trying to own it, you know? He scrolled through more photos. Tom making faces. Tom with his cat visible in the background, looking unimpressed. Tom giving the camera finger guns. I figured if I could laugh at myself, maybe it wouldn't feel so heavy. Something shifted in my chest. Here was this man I'd been falling for, showing me his own vulnerability, his own journey with this thing I'd been treating like a scarlet letter. Send me those, I said impulsively. What? Send them to me, and I pulled out my phone with shaking hands. I'll send you one back, of me and mine, right now. Tom's eyes widened. Right now? Right now. My heart was hammering. I need to do this before I lose my nerve, before I talk myself out of it and we waste another 3 months being exhausted and miserable. I grabbed my overnight bag and headed toward the bathroom. Behind me, I heard Tom say, "Sarah, you don't have to." Yes, I do. I turned back to look at him. If we're doing this, if we're actually trying to build something real, then I need to stop hiding. We both do. In the bathroom, I pulled out the machine with trembling hands. The mask felt foreign, even after a year of nightly use. I caught my reflection in the mirror as I fitted it on, adjusted the straps. The person looking back at me looked strange, medical, vulnerable in a way that made my throat tight. But Tom had done this, had taken 20 silly selfies trying to make peace with his own situation. Could I do any less? I held up my phone, took a breath, and snapped a photo. Then another. In the second one, I tried to smile with my eyes the way Tom had, tried to find some humor in the situation. I didn't quite manage it, but it was something. My finger hovered over the send button for a long moment. This felt bigger than just a photo. It felt like a line I was crossing, a wall I was tearing down. Once I sent this, I couldn't unsend it. He would see me this way. Vulnerable, flawed, human. I hit send before I could overthink it further. Walking back to the kitchen felt like the longest journey of my life. Tom was staring at his phone, and when he looked up at me, still wearing the mask, his expression was so soft it almost broke me. "You look beautiful," he said quietly. I pulled the mask off. "Tom, I mean it." He showed me his phone. He'd sent me a selfie too, fresh, wearing his mask, looking directly at the camera with an expression of such openness it made my breath catch. This is us. This is part of who we are. And if we can't accept it, how are we supposed to accept everything else that comes with building a life with someone? The word life hung in the air between us. We'd been carefully avoiding talking about the future, about what we were becoming to each other. But it was there, in the way he looked at me, in the way I'd driven myself half crazy trying to maintain some impossible standard of desirability, instead of just being real with him. "I'm scared," I admitted. "I've worked so hard to love myself after the divorce, after Emma's dad made me feel like I wasn't enough. The sleep apnea diagnosis felt like proof that I was failing at even basic self-care, no matter how hard I trained or how careful I was. And the CPAP machine became the symbol of everything wrong with me." "Nothing is wrong with you." Tom closed the distance between us. "You have a medical condition that 22 million Americans have. You're treating it. That's not failure, Sarah. That's taking care of yourself." "Then why does it feel so shameful?" "Because we live in a world that tells us we have to be perfect to be lovable, that aging bodies are shameful, that needing medical intervention makes us broken." His hand cupped my face. "But that's garbage. You just did an Ironman triathlon. You're raising a teenager alone. You're one of the strongest people I know. And you need a CPAP machine to breathe properly while you sleep. All of those things are true at the same time." Tears pricked my eyes. "How are you so okay with this?" "I'm not. I'm working on it. I have a therapist I talk to about this stuff. About feeling like less of a man because my body needs help doing something as basic as sleeping." He laughed roughly. "About being divorced at 40 and thinking no one would want me with all my baggage. The CPAP was just one more thing on the list of reasons I thought I'd be alone forever." "You see a therapist about this?" "Yeah. After the second date I torpedoed because I was too embarrassed to let things progress to overnight stays, I figured I needed help. Because I want connection, Sarah. I want intimacy and partnership and someone to build a life with. And I was destroying my own chances because of shame over something I can't control." I thought about all the nights I'd lain awake, exhausted but maskless at Tom's place, choosing appearance over health, over rest, over honest connection. How many mornings had I been useless at work, snapping at Emma, hating myself for my weakness? And for what? To maintain some illusion that I was someone I wasn't? "I'm really tired," I said suddenly. "Tom, I'm so tired. Not just tonight, but all the time since we've been dating. I'm not sleeping well, and it's affecting everything. My training, my work, my patience with Emma. I thought I was choosing connection over sleep, but I'm not really connecting with you when I'm this exhausted. I'm just going through the motions." His expression shifted, became serious. "Me too. I almost fell asleep driving home from your place last week. That's when I knew something had to change. We can't keep doing this." "So what do we do?" Tom was quiet for a moment, then said, "I have my machine in my car. I brought it tonight, thinking maybe, I don't know, that maybe we could talk about this, that maybe you'd be ready." "You brought it?" "I've been bringing it every time I come over for the past month, just in case." He looked embarrassed. "Just in case you wanted to take that step, but I never mentioned it because I didn't want to pressure you." Something warm bloomed in my chest. All this time, he'd been preparing, hoping, waiting for me to be ready, carrying around his own symbol of vulnerability, just in case I could meet him there. "Get it," I said. "Bring it inside. Sarah, I'm serious. I took a breath. "I want to sleep, really sleep, with you here, both of us wearing our masks, looking ridiculous together, and actually getting the rest we need. I want to stop running from this." Tom searched my face. "Are you sure? We can take this slower if you need." "We've been taking it slow for 3 months, and it's killing us both." I managed a shaky laugh. "Let's try fast. Let's try honest. Let's try actually taking care of ourselves while we're trying to take care of each other." He kissed my forehead and headed outside. I stood in my kitchen, shaking slightly, hardly believing what I'd just agreed to. In a few minutes, Tom would be back with his machine, and we would both set them up and climb into bed together and look absolutely absurd. And that would be okay. It would have to be okay. When he returned, carrying a bag identical to mine, the reality of it hit me. We were really doing this. Two adults, both with sleep apnea, both terrified of being unlovable, choosing to be vulnerable together. "Where's your outlet?" Tom asked, practical and calm. "Bedroom. Both sides of the bed, actually. I had the electrician add one when I bought the house. Thinking, someday, maybe." I trailed off, embarrassed by the admission that I'd prepared for this possibility, even while telling myself it would never happen. We headed upstairs together. My bedroom suddenly felt more intimate than it ever had with him. We'd been in here before, of course, but always with the unspoken understanding that he wouldn't spend the night, that we'd enjoy each other's company and then retreat to our separate corners to sleep. Now we unpacked our machines like some kind of strange ritual. Tom set his up on the left side, me on the right. The hoses snaked across the nightstands. The filters hummed quietly as we tested them. "This is the weirdest foreplay I've ever experienced," I said, and Tom burst out laughing. "Right? Very romantic. Nothing says intimacy like dueling CPAP machines." But his eyes were warm, grateful for the attempt at humor. We got ready for bed in a strange state of hyper-awareness. Every movement felt significant. Tom changed into pajamas in the bathroom. I pulled on my softest sleep shirt, the one I usually reserved for sleeping alone. We moved around each other carefully, politely, like new roommates still learning each other's rhythms. When we finally climbed into bed, neither of us reached for our masks right away. We lay there in the darkness, the machines humming softly on either side, and I felt Tom's hand find mine under the covers. "This is terrifying," he said quietly. "Yeah, but good terrifying, like jumping off a high dive." I squeezed his hand. I haven't felt this vulnerable with anyone since my divorce. Maybe not even then, because my ex never really saw me. Not like this. "I see you," Tom said, "and you see me. All of it. The stuff we usually hide." "I'm going to put mine on now." My voice shook slightly. "Okay, me too." We turned away from each other, both reaching for our masks. I heard the rustle of Tom adjusting his straps, the soft sound of the machine engaging. I fitted my own mask, adjusted the seal, felt the familiar pressure of air flowing. The hiss and hum of the machines filled the space between us. For a long moment, neither of us moved. Then Tom rolled over to face me, and even in the darkness, I could see the bulky outline of his mask, the ridiculous shape of it. I must have looked the same to him. Two people wearing breathing apparatuses, lying in bed together, trying to convince ourselves this was normal. And then Tom reached out and pulled me close, careful of our masks, and somehow it worked. We fit together differently than before, more carefully arranged, but the warmth of him was the same. The solid comfort of another person beside me was the same. "Is this cuddling?" I asked, my voice muffled by the mask. "Are we successfully cuddling while wearing these things?" "I think we are." He sounded surprised and pleased, though we look absolutely insane. "Best date night ever." I burrowed closer. "Very romantic. 5 stars. Would recommend." His chest shook with laughter against me. We lay there for a few more minutes, adjusting to the strangeness of it, and then Tom said softly, "Thank you." "For what?" "For trusting me with this. For letting me be here like this." Emotion welled up in my throat. "Thank you for being patient. For not giving up on me when I kept pushing you away." I wasn't going to give up on us. His hand stroked my back in gentle circles, even if I had to sleep in my car with my CPAP machine just to be near you. I started to reply, but a yawn overtook me, so huge and genuine that it surprised me. My body, finally given permission to relax, was crashing hard. The exhaustion I'd been fighting for 3 months rose up like a wave. "Sleep," Tom murmured. "Actually sleep. I'll be right here." And incredibly, impossibly, I did. With the machine breathing for me, with Tom's warm presence beside me, with the weight of shame finally lifted, I sank into the deepest, most restful sleep I'd had in months. When I woke, gray morning light filtered through the curtains. For a moment, I was disoriented, aware of the mask on my face, the sound of Tom's machine still humming beside mine. Then I remembered everything, and instead of shame, I felt something close to peace. Tom was still asleep, sprawled on his back, his mask slightly crooked on his face. In the morning light, I could see the strop marks on his cheeks, the vulnerable openness of his expression in sleep. He looked ridiculous and human and absolutely perfect. I reached over and gently adjusted his mask, and his eyes fluttered open. For a second, I saw uncertainty cross his face, and then he smiled, visible even beneath the plastic. "Morning," he said, muffled. "Morning." I smiled back. "How did you sleep?" "Like the dead." "You?" "Same. I forgot what it feels like to actually be rested." We lay there, grinning at each other like idiots, wearing our masks, and I realized this was intimacy. Not the carefully curated version I'd been trying to present, but this messy, honest, vulnerable thing, where we saw each other fully and chose to stay anyway. Tom pulled off his mask, and I did the same. "That was amazing," he said. "Like, genuinely the best night's sleep I've had since we started dating." "Me too." I touched the strap marks on his face. "We're both going to have mask face all day." "Worth it." He kissed my forehead. "So worth it." We made coffee and breakfast, moving around my kitchen with an ease that felt new and settled at the same time. Tom hummed while he scrambled eggs, and I realized I'd never heard him hum before. Maybe he'd never been relaxed enough around me, or maybe he'd been too exhausted. Either way, it felt like a gift. "So," he said, plating the eggs, "are we doing this? Regular sleepovers with our ridiculous machines?" "Yeah." I didn't hesitate. "Yeah, I think we are. Because I like you better when I'm not exhausted and resentful. And I like myself better, too." "Good." He handed me a plate. "Because I was thinking about that trip to Portland you mentioned wanting to take. We could both bring our machines, get a hotel room with 2 outlets, live dangerously." The idea of traveling together, of not having to hide or make excuses, sent a thrill through me. "You do that? Pack your CPAP for a weekend trip?" "Sarah, I'll pack my CPAP for everything now. Camping trips, beach weekends, visiting family, all of it." He set down his fork and looked at me seriously. "I'm done being ashamed of something I need to be healthy, and I'm done letting shame keep me from building a real life with someone." "Someone meaning me?" My heart was pounding. "Yeah, someone meaning you. If you're interested in building something real here, because I am. I know it's only been 3 months, but I've known for a while that this could be something, if we let it." I thought about the year since my diagnosis, the shame and fear and loneliness, the careful distance I'd maintained from everyone, convinced that needing a CPAP machine made me unlovable. And now here was Tom, offering me exactly what I'd been afraid to want: acceptance, partnership, the freedom to be fully myself. "I'm interested," I said, "in building something real, and not running away from good things because I'm scared, in maybe figuring out how to be happy, even though aging is weird, and bodies are complicated, and we both need machines to sleep properly." "That sounds perfect." Tom raised his coffee mug. "To being a mess together." I clinked my mug against his. "To being a mess together." Later, after he left to run errands, I texted my best friend Morgan a photo of my CPAP machine sitting openly on my nightstand, no longer hidden in the closet. She called immediately. "Okay, what happened? Did you finally tell Tom?" "He has one too," I said. "We both wore them last night. Together!" Morgan's shriek nearly deafened me. "Shut up! How was it?" "Weird, vulnerable, amazing. I slept for 8 solid hours, Morgan. 8 hours! I forgot that was possible." "I'm so proud of you." Her voice got serious. "I know how hard that was, being that open with someone. It was terrifying, but I'm tired of being brave about the wrong things, you know? I've been brave about hiding, about managing everyone else's comfort. Maybe it's time to be brave about actually letting someone in." "About damn time," Morgan said, but she was laughing. "So when do I get to meet this miracle man who wears a CPAP machine?" "Soon," I promised. "Really soon." That evening, Emma came home from her dad's, dragging her overnight bag and talking a mile a minute about the movie they'd seen. I listened, asked questions, felt grateful for the energy I had to actually be present with her instead of counting down the minutes until I could collapse. "You seem happy," Emma said suddenly, pausing in her story about her friend's birthday party. "I am," I said. "I think I am." "Is it Tom? Dad said you were seeing someone." She tried to sound casual, but I heard the underlying nervousness. She was 14, protective, still processing her parents' divorce. Partly Tom, but mostly just me figuring some stuff out, about being honest and letting people in. I pulled her down onto the couch next to me. "I've been keeping someone at a distance because I was scared, and I decided to stop being scared. Or at least to be brave enough to be scared and do it anyway." "That's very after-school special of you, Mom." I laughed and ruffled her hair. "Yeah, well, your mom is learning things. It happens." "Is Tom going to be around more?" "Maybe, if that's okay with you. We're taking things one step at a time." Emma considered this. "Does he make you happy? Like, actually happy, not just distracted from being tired all the time?" The perceptiveness of teenagers never failed to amaze me. "Yeah, baby, he makes me actually happy." "Okay then." She grabbed the remote. "Can we watch that baking show? I want to see if the sourdough lady wins." And just like that, we moved on, settling into our comfortable routine of reality TV and commentary. But something had shifted. The weight I'd been carrying for months was lighter. I wasn't hiding anymore. Not from Tom, not from myself. Over the following weeks, Tom and I fell into a new rhythm. Sleepovers became regular, machines and all. We got better at arranging ourselves for cuddles, figured out the optimal hose placement, started making jokes about our dueling Darth Vader situation. I slept better than I had in years. My training improved, my patience with Emma increased. Work became easier when I wasn't fighting constant exhaustion. We took that trip to Portland, both machines carefully packed, and when the hotel clerk asked if we needed any special accommodations, Tom said cheerfully, "Just 2 outlets near the bed. We've got CPAP machines." No shame, no whispered explanations, just matter-of-fact honesty. In the hotel room, unpacking our machines side by side, I felt something settle in my chest. This was who we were. This was our normal. And it was okay. More than okay. "What are you thinking?" Tom asked, catching me staring at our matching setup. That a year ago, I thought this thing would destroy any chance I had at love, at partnership, at not being alone. I turned to face him, and instead, it became the thing that taught me what real intimacy looks like. The vulnerable, honest, sometimes ridiculous kind. "The best kind," he said, pulling me close. "Yeah, the best kind." We explored Portland, ate too much good food, laughed until our faces hurt, and slept soundly every night in that hotel room with our machines humming in harmony. And when we got home, when Tom helped me carry my bag inside and Emma hugged him hello without awkwardness, I realized we were building something real, something that had room for medical conditions and vulnerability and the messy reality of being human. The shame didn't disappear entirely. Some mornings, I still caught my reflection wearing the mask and felt a twinge of the old embarrassment. But it was quieter now, easier to dismiss, because Tom's reflection was right there beside mine, equally masked, equally human, equally worthy of love. And that made all the difference. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever struggled with accepting a medical condition that made you feel less attractive or dateable? And how did you work through those feelings?